everybody. Welcome to week 2 of Organizational Leadership and Informatics. Thank you so much for your participation in week 1. You guys really gave some thoughtful and reflective answers and discussion. I appreciate that. All right, this week we've got a few other different topics. So the objectives that we want to accomplish this week, we want to differentiate between leadership and management, examine elements of different leadership theories and styles, describe strategies to apply servant leadership in a healthcare setting. So those are what we're hoping to come away with by the end of the week through our discussions and through the assignment. Okay, first of all, we actually have some very nice electronic resources about these topics in addition to our reading this week, so I'd encourage you to click on those and take a look at them. And our first discussion question has to do with differentiating between leadership and management, and I'm looking forward to hearing your opinions about those. When I first started nursing, I really felt that we had more separate leaders and managers. Now, this was back in the 80s, and we had a lot of hierarchy, not so much the huge broad span of control that leaders have nowadays. I feel that our organizational structures have been quite flattened, and so I think that most individuals in management positions now do also really need to function in that leadership role because of those flattened organizational structures. So we'll be talking about that a little too as we kind of get into things this week. Okay, and then DQ2 talks about servant leadership. I am very excited about servant leadership. I have seen what a huge difference it can make when working with staff, when working with colleagues, when you're really able to espouse servant leadership. And so it'll be good for us to talk about that this week. The pros, the cons. I'm also interested in hearing what you think about the challenges of utilizing servant leadership, because it's not always easy. There definitely are challenges. Okay, and then for the assignment, you've got that leadership reflective essay. Now, please remember, you are writing this in APA format. If you click on the announcements for week 1, my announcement that had to do with classroom policies, I did attach GCU's APA guidelines document. It's kind of like a condensed cheat sheet about APA formatting. So please use that as you're setting up your paper and when to see about references and different things like that. So go as far as you can into those assessments. As I mentioned before, I don't expect anyone to pay for any additional information just to complete this assignment. So go as far as you can. You don't need to go into a huge amount of detail about the findings from each assessment. I just need some general information from each assessment about what you found. I'm much more concerned with how you pulled it all together and what you learned from those assessments. So you're going to be telling me about your overall conclusions. So what did you learn and what can you do with that information? Now, a lot of us have been in nursing for a little while and have done self-reflection, and maybe you didn't reach any amazing revelations. That's fine, but hopefully you've at least picked up a little something and maybe have a better handle on your leadership style. Maybe you're able to quantify that more accurately. Okay, so you're going to be turning that in this week. Be sure to look at the scoring rubric because that will give you really clear indications of how I would select and score your paper based on the criteria. We use kind of like a Likert scale, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the rubrics. So take a look at that so you have an idea of what the top level expectations are if that's what you're shooting for with this paper. All right, so we've got some really meaty stuff to talk about this week. I'm looking forward to it. And as usual, if you have any questions at all about the assignments or anything about the course, it's best to pop me a note in either the individual forum, if it's just something you want to discuss with me. If it's something that you think others in the class might have a question about, put it in the questions to the instructor forum. That's great. Try that first, and if we can't figure it out that way, you're certainly welcome to call me. Remember, my cell phone is 801-577-4100. I do work full-time, so if you get my answering machine, my voicemail, either leave a message or send me a text. Either will work just fine. I do try very hard to look, even if I'm not posting something in the main forum, I try very hard to look in the individual forum and the questions to the instructor forum every single day and try to respond to those really quickly. All right, I think that's about it for this week. Looking forward to some great discussion, and I will see you in the main forum.